Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. This is going to be a guide on a game changer in this game. I think there's three champions that stand out in my mind as champions that will completely change the way you play the game. And this is one of them. So the first one is Sifi the Busted. We know she's insane. Anywhere in the game, if you've got her in your teams, she is going to absolutely transform your teams and make the game tons easier. Tons. The second one for me is Valkyrie. Valkyrie is a clan boss game changer. She's also a game changer anywhere in the game, but for clan boss, she allows you to do things that you cannot do with anyone else in this game. She puts shields out there which are colossal and enable you to just play the game in a different style. And the third one is this champion guide today. It is Vizier. Vizier is just a crazy champion. Very cool visual in this guy as well. Really like it. Cool swords. So why is he so insane? Pretty much it's all about this A1. His A1 attacks 3 times. That alone is nice. Get a multi-hit A1, it's very nice. Every hit that he does, unbooked, gives him a 35% chance of increasing all debuffs on the target. This is mainly related to clan boss, but you can use him elsewhere, but clan boss is where he shines. So if there's 2 poisons on the clan boss right now, every hit he does, unbooked, 1 in 3 chances is going to extend that poison another tick. If you book him out, it becomes 1 in 2 chances that he's going to extend that poison another tick. Pretty much, if you've got a booked Vizier, once you've laid any debuff, it should never fall off for the whole fight. And that's why it's the game changer. It means that you can run compositions that you wouldn't normally be able to run, and run different level stats than you'd normally run. An example of that is, if you were so fortunate to have Vizier partnered with Dracomorph. Dracomorph brings tons of poison. He brings decreased defense and weaken. Vizier brings decrease attack. So between 2 champions, you have got every single debuff you need for the clan boss, which means you've got 3 spots just for support, just for staying alive longer, for counter attack, all that type of stuff. And that's why he's a game changer. There's no other champion in the game that enables you to do that. There's nobody else in the game that will enable you to completely change your composition just because of 1 move. So what we're going to do today, this is his main ability. His second ability then puts this decrease attack on. It also puts 2 unwanted debuffs on. So this is to watch out. It means you're going to use 2 of your 10 debuff spots to put decrease attack on. A lot of people, me included, would prefer to run a different decrease attacker, manual until you fill up your debuff bar, and then just rock on with A1s. But he's definitely viable for decrease attack. And then on his A3, he's got a debuff spread and a perfect veil. So basically, if you've got a multitude of enemies, let's say you're in faction wars, you throw out the 3 debuffs here. You can then go in with the next move and spread all of those debuffs to everyone else. So pretty cool as well. But mainly faction wars, mainly fire knights, I'd say. And then he's got a passive here. At the start of each round, puts out a perfect veil. So for clan boss, that's actually only the first turn. This will enable him to get perfect veil after that. But for the first turn, he'll have a perfect veil, which means he takes 15% less damage. That's huge. That's actually a massive buff for him. So when they change this to 15% less damage, that's a huge buff for Vizier, because his probably biggest weakness is his base defense and trying to keep him alive. So how have I built him then? I'm actually going to run him in my slow nightmare team initially, and then after that we'll take him into an end game build. But if I show you quickly my video that I put out maybe a week or 2 ago, if you haven't seen it, easiest nightmare clan boss team. This is basically a bunch of champs that are really slow, less than 130 speed. They get paired with a fast champion, which is High Katoon, who is running at Where are you, Haikatoon? Where is she? Here she is. She's running at 206. Everybody else is running between 120 and 130. And basically, you get a 1-for-1 hit on the clan boss. So this is no counter attack, nothing like that. Just a kind of bare bones team. And with that team, I was able to 4-key Nightmare using some very, very basic champions. I will log back in when the reset happens. Okay, reset has happened. What do we get today? Void shards! Void shards is what I need. Double void weekend. Yes! Got one. Okay. So, let's get into... Oh, not Ultra Nightmare. I'm going to do Nightmare first with my kind of slow team, as I said. So, basing it on the team that I did for the other video. All I'm doing is taking Coffin Smasher out. And he was my decreased attack champ. And I'm going to replace him with Vizier. So, we had 1, 2, 3. Haikatoon for speed. 4. And then Vizier in here now as the debuff extender. So, Bulwark does a bit of debuff extending. Compared to Bulwark, it's a different level. But within this team, then you've got a weaken, an HP burn, poisons, and decreased defense and decreased attack. So we've got all of the required debuffs all within the same team. And what you'll see is just how easily Vizier keeps all of those debuffs up to the point where you absolutely could completely change your kind of makeup. So we go poison sensitivity first. We're going to do big version decreased defense. Only works if there's poison there. So can't do that yet. Poison here. Yes, please. Decrease. No, I'm actually going to... yeah, I'm going to go decrease attack here. Or should I try and extend? I'm going to go decrease attack here. Make sure I get it on. Decrease attack and block buffs. Luckily, we didn't get one of the other ones on. That's actually brilliant for us right now. So we're going to go weaken next. Didn't land it. What's important is we got some extension from Bulwark, which is actually insanely good as well. So far, things are going really well. Going to go decrease defense now. This is really important to land. Got that on. Great. Now we're just going to start extending and watch how many times this ticks up. One hit, 1, 2, 3. See all of this? We're already at 4 or 5 ticks on all of those important debuffs. We're going to try and get weaken on next, because weaken's more important to me than HP burn. Because we've got... what's her name? Because we've got poison sensitivity up. Because we've got frozen banshee in the team. So we can just fill up now with poison. Poison again. I think we're full. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So we're full now. We go extend again. Look at that. 6, 7. It's just actually insane. All the while, we now hit full auto and watch this roll. I mean, at this stage, guys, he's going to do his other abilities, and that's why I manual the first couple of moves, because he's going to do those other abilities that we don't really want him to do, just to get things rolling. But you'll see it's going to drop down now to 2. It's fine. He's used his other abilities. Next turn, he'll go back to using his A1, and you'll get a couple of turns of A1. I would suggest, if you're going to use Vizier, potentially you should manual with him, maybe for the first 5 or so turns. Just make sure you get your debuffs up high enough so you're not going to get them all drop off. So he would have used his A2 there. I don't want him to use his A2. I want him to just keep extending. And once you get yourself to that strong level of, like 6 or so debuff stacks, you can then hit the full auto and not worry about them coming off. But you can just see how ridiculous it is, guys. He just extends, bang, again. And you're laughing, really. You're laughing. He's such an insane champion. There's literally nobody else like him in the game. Someone said to me on stream last night, why don't you use Warlord to do the same job? Warlord is so far beneath him in doing this job, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how different they are at doing this job. So this should be the last one I need to do. 5 or 6. There's no way that's dropping off. So we were doing a 4 key with Coffin Smasher in there. So we were basically hitting for, would have been just over 10, 11 million. I think we actually did between 11 and 13 mil on the video last time. Let's see what happens with this setup, with him able to keep these debuffs up for the whole fight. I'm going to scooch through to the end and let's check it out. Okay, so we're coming up to the end. You can see how many debuffs are stacked up still. Still all on there, no problems. And what we've done is we've moved a team from an average of about 11 million up to 17.6 million by changing one champ. Still running at the same speeds. We've changed one champ and his damage has not really changed from what we were doing with Coffin Smasher. Maybe like a couple of 100,000 in it. Not really changed. What he has done though is pulled all of the poison damage through the whole fight. He's bonkers. That sort of level of improvement, over 50% improvement to our damage number, almost moved it into a 2 key just because of his debuff extension. He is as big a game changer in this game as anyone else you will find. So what I'm going to do now is change him up to run in my Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss team, and you can see, perhaps what I'll do is I'll show you him, Draco, and then a bunch of other champs, and you can see how effective that is. Okay, so what I decided to do, I've changed him up to replace my Ultan. So Ultan is my current decreased defense, decreased attack champion in my high-end team. Ultan also does bring increased defense, which I'm going to be lacking in my main team. So I'm probably going to do less damage than I normally would do, because Ultan also hits like a beast. But you can see how effective he can be coming into a high-end team. So Ultra Nightmare, let's run ourselves a Norog, a Draco, Mashold, Valk, and Vizier to extend the debuffs. So what we've got here is somebody that can just tank up a stun, so that we're not worried about having to cleanse a stun. We've got decreased defense, weaken, poison. We've got leech, we've got shields, and we've got decreased attack. We're going to have a bunch of debuffs we don't particularly want on the clan boss as well, which is not ideal, but it's there's the leech that's gone on. I'm going to not place his A3, so I don't want to get that heal reduction on. I might get it on anyway through Vizier, but the ideal is we don't get it on. We're going to get decreased defense and weaken on next. We're going to get a decreased attack on. All three of them went on, so that's probably about as bad as it gets. But that's the way it goes. That's what you pay for having Vizier. You pay the tax for having such a strong champ. Another A1 here. We're going to get poisons on here. That's another 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're full on debuffs. And then we start extending. Look at that. Chunks up to 4 on some of them already. Keep our speed going. And this clan boss setup is basically a 2 turns for every 1 turn the clan boss has. So with my previous team with Ultan in, I can 1 key Ultra Nightmare. I'm normally between 67 million, which is just short of a 1 key, up to about 75 million. So almost every day it's a 1 key. Sometimes it's just short of a 1 key, so I've got a little bit of work to do to make sure it's completely consistent. At this stage, by the way, I would normally already be on auto. The reason I'm not is I just want to make sure there's absolutely no chance these debuffs are going to drop off. You see there, we're down to, what are we on, 6. By turn 9, Norod will be the only person that ever takes the stun. That's the way this works. And again, beautiful. So I think at this stage we're totally comfortable now to hit full auto. I'm going to let that run. And yeah, I'll show you how we get on. But you can already see like 8 debuffs, you know, it's just insane. And with a counter attack as well, I mean, there's just no way these are going to drop off, because every counter attack gives you that same chance to extend. So here we go, let it run and I'll show you the results. Okay, so we've just had our first casualty. Mashold has gone down. His leech is still out there, so we're not in like complete dire straits, but it does ruin the speed tune. As soon as someone dies, it ruins the speed tune. Missing the increased defense from Ultan basically has lost us the run. But what you'll see here is look how many stacks we've got on the boss. 70 stacks of poison. So we've got an easy 2-key. 70 stacks of poison. For everyone who's going to ask me, there's probably going to be at least 80 people that say to me, what about if you ran someone like Vizier and blew up all the poison? It doesn't work. I get people speak to me about it so frequently, and it doesn't work. Karam doesn't work. It basically on clanboss it doesn't do the same thing. It blows up the poison as if there's only one tick there, so it's completely nerfed. But you see, Vizier did what, nearly 6 million damage, on par with the other kind of support-based champs. Norog comes in with 10. Draco comes in with 16. If I swapped out Norog for Ultan, I probably would have hit 60 million. That's the difference. But I would have had to deal with cleansing and stuff, so it would have been different. But anyway, 45 mil, high-end team, easy 2-key Ultra Nightmare. And it's basically because Vizier is extending everything on so comfortably. So the only other place, I guess you can play him in Faction Wars. He's not in my Faction War team. You could play him there. I don't rate him massively for Faction Wars. The only other place that I think he's got any sort of love in this game is... I guess maybe there's a little bit of a niche one, actually. Maybe there's a niche Spider 20 kind of setup that you could do, which would be something like Bulwark throwing out an HP burn. He would be your tank. Maybe there's something else he could do. I've not really thought of it until I was making literally just now. But maybe something like this could work. So basically what you're doing is you're making use of his spread debuffs. Actually, he can't be a tank because he makes himself invisible. So this might end up being a bit of a mess up. But basically we do decrease attack on him. We get ourselves a big shield, but you can use whoever you want. We're going to go straight in with the Heart Seeker. So we get HP burnout on one of these little spiderlings. Preferably one that's not going to move too quickly. Because we've got to wait for Vizier's turn. So I'm going to go for this one here. HP burn is on. Everyone else we're just kind of A1ing in. So then you get your debuff spread on this same spiderling and hope it's not a weak hit. HP burn then goes on everyone. See that? So we've now got HP burns everywhere. I've not bought in enough turn meter control actually, because you actually want to allow these burns to take hold. But you can see here how every spiderling's burning now, and this is one way that I could see you can make use of Vizier other than kind of the normal stuff. I've not bought in the best team. I should have bought in more turn meter control, perhaps instead of Apothecary another turn meter champ. Because now you've got to go through that same cycle again. It's better to do it on this second turn anyway, because you get 2 full turn meter bars worth of value out of the burn. We've got to wait 1 more turn on that burn. And probably for Vizier a couple of turns anyway. But you can see what I mean. So there is a kind of niche way to do this. You wouldn't be able to do it though. This would be a manual comp, or you would be, if you're going on auto, you would have to do a lot of clicking yourself. So you'd basically, if you're trying to run this on auto, you'd press auto and then you'd be pressing on a spiderling at exactly the right time to get the HP burn off. So it's pretty complex, but let's see here. So again, you'd go with one that's kind of got a bit of time to let Vizier spread it before it moves. Don't need that yet. You then spread that HP burn out, as long as it's not a weak hit. There it goes. And then this should now be auto. But the only way to do it on auto is if you were very nimble at your clicks, basically. That's the only way it would work. But it is a kind of possible. You know, if you're struggling to do Spider and you've got these two champs, then it definitely gives you an option of a way to do it. Anyway, it's going to take a while. I'm not going to bore you with it, but you can kind of get the idea. But yeah, Finites is his other spot to play. And even then, I think he's weak. So you can come into Finites. Let's take one of these out. And the thing, why is he okay in Finites? Basically because he's got the debuffs. So he's got the triple hit A1, and he can keep things like the decreased defense and weaken on for the duration of the fight, and things like he also brings heal reduction, which is actually very good against the Fire Knight. So stops him healing up in between attacks. But I think maybe he's kind of good. Yeah, no, I think he is good. If you pulled a Vizier and you've only got epics and kind of rares other than Vizier, then he's definitely in your Fire Knight team without a doubt. He's not in mine because I'm endgame and I'm playing kind of speed farm at this stage. But for most people that have got a Vizier, he's probably in their team, or should be. So you see here, slam. He actually hits quite hard as well. So we're going to be through to the boss at a pretty decent time. Obviously he keeps extending all of these debuffs. Any debuff on a target, he will extend it all day long. And he's a neutral affinity here for this fight, so that works as well. When he gets onto the boss, see here, he has got, so he uses his, like any simpleton raid character, they use their silly abilities first, but there it goes. Heal reduction on, decrease attack on, and that's going to stay on for the whole fight, which means that if the Fire Knight does get a turn, he's basically never going to heal again, because we've also extended it. See this? None of these debuffs will ever drop off for the rest of this fight. We're probably just going to clear it, so I've got a good team here, but you get the idea. So guys, if you pull a Vizier, he is one of the game changers in this game. He sits there, as I say, on a pedestal with Sifi. You know, if people are sitting in the legendary lounge eating their buffet, these two are in the captain's quarters dining over a fine port or a brandy. Vizier sits there, one of those champs that absolutely changes your game. I've been Hell Hades. Hope you enjoyed the guide. I'll catch you later.